Hi everyone, Chris here from the Driving Theory Workshop. Hope everybody is well. I'm here today to talk about hazard perception. We put a poll out on the Line Learner Drivers Advice group and found that most people are struggling with hazard perception and wanted me to do a mini workshop with how to score highly and what things to look out for and what the difference is between developing and potential hazards and things like that. So here we are. And I'm about to talk you through sort of what to expect, what scores you need to get, and how to maximise the points you get to ensure that you both pass the hazard perception part as well as the multiple choice questions. As most of you are aware, you have to pass both parts, so both the hazard perception and also the questions. So first of all, the importance is that we need to score highly. So we need to get 44 out of 75. Okay, so 44 points out of a maximum of 75 points to ensure that we pass that part. Now that works out just under 3 points per clip or per hazard. I think it works out sort of 2.9 or something like that. So we need to get a 3, 4 or 5. Now the more points you get, the better, obviously, and the earlier you spot a hazard, then the more points you will score. So you're scored on a developing hazard, not on a potential hazard. Something that would cause you to change direction or speed. So that's how they define a developing hazard. So if you were the driver of the car, would it cause you to change direction or speed? And if it would cause you to change direction or speed, then you need to be clicking the mouse button. Now, you don't need to move that mouse to the object that's going to cause you the problem, the hazard. You can just click to say that you've seen something on the screen that's going to cause you a problem. Okay, so there is 15 hazards over 14 clips. Okay, so one of the clips is going to have 2 hazards in it. Now, they're not going to tell you which clip has got 2 hazards in it, so it's important that we look for 2 hazards in every clip, and then we'll know that we've maximised our points score. As mentioned before, we're looking for developing hazards and not potential hazards. So let's just talk about a real life example for so that we know sort of what's going on. So let's imagine that we're driving down the road and there's a child on the pavement at the side of the road and they're bouncing a ball. Okay, now that child is just a potential hazard at the moment. They're not causing us any problem, although we do need to be aware of them. Okay, and unless anything happens to that ball or the child walks out or anything like that, then they're not going to be worth clicking because they're not going to score as a point. However, if we drive down the road and then the child drops the ball and the ball starts to roll towards the road, then that starts to become a developing hazard. In that case, the earlier we click that situation happening, the more points we're going to score. So hopefully we'll score 5 points if we spot it nice and early. If it gets to a situation where we're literally right there and we've got the ball right in front of us and the car's already started to brake, then we're going to be scoring sort of a 1 or a 0 or something like that because it's a bit late to be responding to it. So if, like I said, the kid was bouncing the ball and we just drive along and we drive past that child and the kid's stayed on the side of the pavement and it's not caused us a problem, then that was only a potential hazard and wasn't the hazard that we needed to be clicking for. You can click more than once on each hazard perception clip. Okay, so feel free to click a couple of times. Okay, so you might see something as a potential hazard and click it. Now, even though it hasn't developed into a hazard, if we click nice and early, it isn't going to cause a problem that we've clicked that one time. You can still click when you see the developing hazard further on down the line. What we can't do is repetitive click. So, for example, if we click too many times, someone would say too many, we're talking sort of 7 or 8 times. Or if it finds that there's a pattern in your clicking, like you're clicking every 5 seconds or something like that, or 10 seconds, it's going to give you a 0 score because it's going to think you're cheating. Okay, so to stop that from happening, it will give you a 0 score for that clip. Okay, which is really important that we don't get that, especially if that's the clip where we could potentially get 10 points because there may be 2 developing hazards. So what I'd suggest you want to do, one of the sort of top tips I always give my guys when I'm teaching them, is what you want to be doing is you want to be clicking when you see the developing hazard as early as possible. But then what you also want to be doing is clicking about 1 second or 2 seconds after that as well. Okay, what that means is that you're more likely to get your click in the scoring window. What we sometimes see when we look back at people's progress scores is that they're clicking almost too early, they're spotting it too early. Now, if you spot that a second before it becomes a developing hazard, when it's just a potential hazard, you're going to score 0 points, but you think you've clicked it, but the system's not going to register it. By clicking once at the start and then clicking a second or two later will ensure that what happens is that you enter the scoring window. And by entering the scoring window, even if the first click is in the scoring window and you get 5 points for that, if you click again and then you're in the 3-point section, it will still give you the highest score of the two, so it will still give you the 5 points. However, if you've clicked a fraction early before the 5 points and then you click again a second or two later, you'll be in the 4-point section, which means that you've guaranteed that you've got yourself in the scoring window and that you've got yourself those points in the bag. So like I say, always click when you see the developing hazard and then click about a second or two later so that you know that you're definitely within the scoring window. My phone keeps flashing up saying that I've got a bit of a weak connection, so I'm sorry if it keeps cutting out and that, and I hope this message is sort of getting through to everybody. But if not, you'll be able to watch it back later on the on the group or on the Driving Theory Workshops page. So that's it really with regards to hazard perception. Just make sure that you click and then you click a sort of second or two later. Look for things that are developing hazards and not potential hazards. So things that can cause you to change direction or speed. And remember that we're looking for 2 hazards on one of the clips. So there's 14 clips, but there's 15 hazards. But as a top tip, always look for 2 on every video and then it won't matter too much. Okay, so if anybody's got any questions, by all means send us a message, add any questions in the comments section. I hope this video has been helpful. Please share it, please like it so that other people can see it as well. Spread the message about the Driving Theory Workshop and so that people can help spread that message. I'll put a link in the comments section to the learner advice group. If anyone wants to join that, feel free to. And I hope everybody has a great weekend. Thanks a lot. Bye.